Hey guys, it's Rachel and welcome back to the video. And today I am so excited because I have been working on this video technically for like half a year now or something like that since I did my last sketchbook tour. But if you guys haven't guessed, today I am doing my third sketchbook tour on my channel, and I'm so excited to show you guys all the drawings I have made. This one is packed full with a bunch of really colorful drawings, a lot of sketches for heroic and different things like that. And I think honestly this is probably my most exciting sketchbook tour because there's just so many like bright colorful pieces in it, and I can't wait to show you guys all the sketches that I have made. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so on the first page is basically our cover page art. This I actually did for a video on my channel. You guys can check it out in the card. All the videos that I have done that's in the sketchbook will be in cards if you want to see them. So it's just a basic art of me jumping with a pencil, kind of simple. Next thing I wanted to do, I think I had just gone to a concert at this time, so I got really inspired to do a musician. So of course I had to draw Conan Gray. I've drawn Conan probably like way too many times, but basically it's just Conan inspired and a few different positions of singing. On the next page, you'll be able to see this is a very common theme throughout a lot of my sketchbooks, is I just do a lot of like random doodles of either like heads or faces of some sort. So on the left side, we've just got a lot of random faces. And then on the right is our first ever art that I created for the 10K subscriber pack for Heroic. And in this sketchbook holds all 10 of the full arts for that pack. So you guys will be able to see that today. On to the next page is kind of what I was talking about again. It's just a lot of random sketches. This is usually what happens when I don't really know what to draw, but I still want to draw. And my go-to when I don't know what to draw is to literally just draw random heads with different hairstyles and stuff and work on posing most of the time. The next page is again some more random sketches of just heads and stuff. And then on the right is another art from Heroic 10K pack. I always like looking back at the sketchbook and seeing the full completed art instead of on the tiny little image on the cards. This page we've got a few more random heads, one that's colored. A lot of these colored square heads that you'll see in my sketchbook are of my friends actually. Next page we've got a few more sketches, and then on the right again we have another one of those 10K card arts. This one is Vault Ninja. I think this one I really liked how the posing turned out because I had so much motion to it, and it was definitely a pose that I had never done before in my arts. Next one of the 10K arts is the Protector of the Fortress. I think this is one of those cards that the actual art was like super vibrant and it looked super cool, but then when it transferred to the card, I think the reds or something with the reds got like super saturated and it kind of didn't quite look as good as the original art, but that's okay. It still looked pretty good. On the next page, we've got Meg the Fierce Axeman. So as you guys can tell, at this time I was kind of just whipping out these 10K card arts really fast, so that's why they're all back to back. On the next page is Keothi the Conqueror, and you guys actually saw this in a speed art on my channel. When I actually made that speed art video, I didn't hint at all as to what I was doing with this art. I didn't say anything about 10K. I wanted to keep it a secret and make sure it was a surprise, but yeah, this was another art for the 10K pack. On to the next page is some random sketches of people. I've got one that kind of looks like Bangalore from Apex Legends, but is a little bit more casual looking. And then a few other random images. In the top right is some inking that I did for one of my friends for their Twitch icon, and I ended up photoshopping it to be a little bit different. And then if we go to the next page, this was one of the big, I guess, turning points or game-changing points for my art style, was the implementation of ears. So I actually ended up making this image on the right first, and this was something that I saw on Pinterest, and I was like, oh, this would be really fun to bring it to my art style and try transferring it to my art style. And I ended up just throwing ears on it because I was like, oh, might as well try it, you know? And then I actually really liked how it turned out, especially with the earrings. So then on the left side, I tested out a bunch of different ears and stuff and how I wanted to draw them, and I ended up deciding bringing it into my art style. On the next page is again just a random sketch where I found something off Pinterest and I was like, oh, that looks fun. So then I bring it into my art style, and I'm starting to implement the ears more here. Next on the right was a motion graphics study that I was doing for a class for college. I think our topic for this was shading and depth and contrast. It was a lot of like black and white stuff, so we had to do a lot of sketches with just pencil. And then this goes on to the next two pages. As we can see, it's a lot of like realism stuff. There's some perspective stuff, and then in the bottom right there is the different assets that I used to make my new intro, which I probably will upgrade that intro even more later down the line. And then the next page is again some more random sketches. This was almost like a mood board page for my song that's coming out at the end of July. If you guys don't know, I have a song called Happy Pill coming out at the end of July, and I was kind of mood boarding for some images for the music video. I guess here's a little like hint as to what it might look like. On the right was just a random portrait that I made. It wasn't drawn from any references or anything. As you start to do more and more portraits, you kind of pick up on a lot of the similarities that you see in eyes and noses and lips, and you kind of just start to pick up all the different features of a face. So then you're able to kind of draw it without looking at a reference. On the next 2 pages is again just some more random mood boarding for my music video, just some more sketches that kind of have to do with that music video. On the next page is all the heads that I created for the how I draw hair video. It was a tutorial on how I draw hair and giving you guys tips on how to get started with that. That video I'm actually really proud of, and I think it's one video that I would definitely show to people if they were wondering what content I made, because I think that video turned out really well. Same with my shading tutorial video. On the right is again some more sketches. I ended up drawing this little singing dude like he's at a concert, you know, dancing around, having fun with the audience. On the next page, I think I was playing Magic with my friends in college, and I had my sketchbook with me, so then it wasn't my turn, so I was just sitting there doodling away. And I think this is one of those sketches where I didn't pick up the pencil or did it very minimally, so it has this kind of like unique characteristic to it. On the next few pages is from the redrawing fan art series, and for this episode I decided to do it with Copic markers instead of digitally or with colored pencils or something like that. So I've got this little guy with a sweatshirt and blue hair. The next page is more of like a angel guardian kind of figure. These are all from fans that have sent in art before, and then I just redraw it in my art style. And then the last one is still probably my favorite, or one of my favorites from the redraw fan art series. I'm guessing his name is Sam because it says Sam on his shirt, but I just really like how the posing and the hair and the facial expression turned out really cool on this one. So next page, I've just got a few random heads of my friends, and I was just trying out some new markers and stuff. And then I've got this little dancer person in the bottom right. Again, just kind of messing around with some different posing that I don't usually do very much of. On the next page is probably one of my favorite sketches in this sketchbook, and I ended up transferring this to Heroic Set 2, and it was the first ever digital art that I made in Set 2. This is Walker of the Badlands, and I think I saw an image on Pinterest that kind of inspired me and inspired this sketch. It's not completely like that Pinterest image, but it was very inspired by it. The next few pages are also for an English project that I was working on. It was all about like fitness and nutrition and mental health and stuff like that. So it's just kind of a series of images, and we'll kind of go over them together. So it's like a guy looking at a TV that kind of flips to the TV, and then he kind of like starts to work out and exercise and eat well and stuff like that. He like becomes like happier. That's like a really rough premise to the English project that I was working on, but it kind of gives an idea of what the images were. On to the next page is a sketch for a thumbnail that I was making for my collab gaming channel. It's called Dude Mode. If you guys want to check it out, you can. It'll be in the description of this video and in a card, but basically we just make a lot of funny gaming content on there, and this was the first ever video that we made on that channel, and this was the thumbnail. It was like a Scribblio video. The next set of pages is probably one of my favorite pages to look at, because on the left of this is this very like punchy, edgy image kind of, and it's this lyric from one of my songs that I created like a while ago and just never published, and then it has just like this random head in it. And then on the right is obviously by far my favorite card art that I ever made for the 10K pack. This is Zaro, Guardian of the Sky. For some reason, the way the markers ended up blending and the directions that I used them, it just turned out super cool on this art. It just has a lot of really good flow to it, and it's probably going to be one of my favorite arts for a few years down the line. On to the next page is another thumbnail sketch that I was making for my gaming channel. I drew one of my friends as Wraith from Apex Legends so we could use it in the thumbnail of the video. On the next page is this little like love sketch. I literally was like on my way to Chicago to pick up my stuff from college, and like I had this random idea come into my head for this sketch, and I literally just like whipped out my sketchbook and did it. I don't really know why I did it. It just like popped in my head. I was like, you know what, that'd be fun to draw, so then I just did it. And then on the right is the Silver Mirage from a 10K pack. This original art is super vibrant, and looking back at these, I can kind of understand why a few people say that they enjoy my traditional art over my digital art, just from how like vibrant these colors are and the blending and stuff like that. But I think that digital art further down the line, especially when I get better and better at it, is going to be more beneficial to me and to the artwork. Next up is Kree the Mad Master, also from the 10K pack. And I have to say, this is probably my second favorite art from the 10K pack. I think the lightning and the whole characteristics that come off of the character like just mix really well together, and it like really draws you into the image. I don't really know how to explain it. I think just overall the artwork is a very like immersive piece. Next up is Wind Whisperer for the 10K pack, and I think this is the last 10K art. It was a level 0 light element hero for my 10K pack, and that was to finish up all the 10K arts. Next up is this little portrait edgy thing that I did. I don't think I used a reference for this either. I literally just like drew a portrait because I was bored, and then I was like, let's mix it up a little bit, I guess, you know, make it a little different, you know, kind of change things up a little bit. So I just like made his eyes basically like black holes, and then gave him like an earring and stuff. Yeah. The next 2 pages are all concept arts, either like random sketches of heads and stuff, as usual, or just like concept arts for possible characters in Heroic. Sometimes if I'm really feeling productive, instead of making random heads, I just like draw out random characters that pop into my head and see if I would want to bring them into Heroic or not. Next page is a sketch of me, and this was when I was debating on whether I wanted to use my regular like blocky cartoony art style or try out a different art style for my music video. I ended up going with my blocky art style because I think it's just a lot easier for me to draw, and it's very consistent. So, and then on the right, I don't even really know what this is. It's just kind of like this random abstract art piece, I guess. You can kind of see like a person in there. Then on the next couple pages that we're gonna be going over, these are all sketches that I drew for Heroic Set 2 and then brought them into Photoshop later on. So this is Card Slinger on the left. Obviously, you guys know this is my favorite art for Set 2. I think the digital art and the sketch just turned out super cool, and I love the concept of Card Slinger. The one on the right is the Blacksmith of the Ages. So this is the first stack hero that I ever sketched out and ever made a concept for. And the whole idea for the stack hero like arts is that like weaker version or the younger version of the card is kind of like in the back of them, and then like the older version, more powerful of the character, is kind of in the front. On the next 2 pages is Mr. and Mrs. Tsunami, the sketches for them. This is the like water element archetype, and I wanted them to all kind of have like a similar outfit and whole vibe to them, and like hairstyle and stuff like that, because I wanted them to look like a really tight-knit family, like they depend on each other a lot, because that's kind of how their whole card effects play. On the next page is some of the concepts that I was coming up with for my YouTube custom emojis, and I ended up bringing most of them into my Twitch emojis instead. I haven't decided fully on whether I want to do YouTube memberships or not, but for now I'm going to just use these emojis for Twitch instead. On the right is the sketch for the Thunder Knight card for Heroic Set 2. As you guys know, I'm redrawing Thunder Knight into all the different sets of Heroic as more of a collectible thing, so this was the sketch for the digital art that's coming into Set 2. Next page, we got the sketch for Damon the Exotic. This is the nature element archetype that's coming in Set 2. They're kind of like based off of like nature and like tribal kind of stuff. On the right was just this random sketch that I made during a Zoom call for class. And I ended up making like a TikTok out of this, and actually like not really like blew up, but it has the most views on my TikTok out of any of them. Next page, I've got this just random dude doing a thirst trap. Obviously inspired by TikTok, and I think I ended up making a TikTok out of this image too. But it's kind of just like another practice of like doing like interior design and stuff like that, and posing, I guess. Next up is the page from the Sketch With Me video that I recently did a few weeks ago. These are honestly some of my favorite videos to make, because I literally just get to like sketch, and the voiceover and stuff is a little bit more chill and stuff, and I get kind of just talk. And then on the right is the drawing of a TikToker, and I made this for a TikTok also, so I just like duetted one of his videos and made a drawing of him, I guess. Next up is the sketch for Medusa the Stone Stair from Heroic Set 2. Pretty simple, obviously very much inspired by the whole mythology behind Medusa and her like freezing people with her stare, and they like become stone when they look into her eyes. The next few pages is dude that I kind of like animated, I guess, for TikTok. Again, I'll put up the TikTok if I still have it, but I kind of cut between all the image so that it almost looked like he was walking and it was animated. On the right is the sketch for the Devil's Advocate, which if you guys don't know is the Dark Element stack hero for set 2. I ended up taking his art from the comic book cover 300 prompts video that I made. I think I just really liked the art from that and the concept for the character, so I just brought it into set 2. Next up is another drawing of a TikToker. This tends to be a common theme where I just draw people from TikTok and duet their video. But yeah, it was a ton of fun to draw, and I, for some reason, really like how the grayscale turned out on this image. Next up on the right is Current Conjurer from set 2. This is one of the arts that I use for the 5 things to improve your character design video, and the next few sketches are also from that. So, of course, next up is Samade the Intellectual and Rue the Exotic. Both of these were for the 5 things to improve your character design video. Honestly, a really helpful video, and I would recommend go watching that. And it took me so long to make because I had to make 5 different digital arts for that video. But I think, honestly, that video ended up having some of the best arts for Heroic Set 2. Obviously, Rue the Exotic and Samade both have really detailed cool arts coming in set 2. Next up is Private Investigator, which was also for that video. I really like how the background turned out on Private Investigator when I brought it into a Photoshop file. I added like this really bright cityscape behind her. On the right is my friend drawn as John Wick. This was also for a dude mode video, my gaming channel. I drew one of my friends as John Wick so that we could use it in the Apex thumbnail. Next up is a sketch of Gesture of Chance. Again, another Heroic Set 2 card. Once I figured out that I could bring in my sketches from my sketchbook into Photoshop and just draw over them, I started doing that all the time because I personally find it a lot easier to do all my sketches in my sketchbook and then just do the inking in Photoshop. Next up is Brother Tsunami for set 2. So this is another one of the cards for the Tsunami archetype coming in set 2. Next up is all of these sketches for the redrawing fan art number 8 or 9 video. I don't remember. It was one of my most recent videos, so these are all of the first sketches that I made for it, and then of course I brought them into Photoshop. And then in the bottom right is the sketch for Sister Tsunami, which is again part of that archetype for set 2. Next up is Snow Giant. If you guys don't remember, Snow Giant I first sketched when I was making a speed art for my channel. It was probably like a year or 2 ago that I made that video. And then of course now I'm redrawing all of set 2, so I had to redraw Snow Giant, and this is what it looks like now. On the right is the art for Encaptured. That is another card that I had to redraw for set 2. And then on the bottom is just like a little sketch of my friend that I made because I was bored. Next page is Flutter Boots, which is another card that I had to redraw for set 2. Flutter Boots is probably my favorite redraw that I had to make for set 2. I think when I brought it into Photoshop and added in like this really cool light that's from above and some dust particles, I think it is probably my favorite to redraw from set 2. And then on the right is a like Bed Wars thumbnail that I was making for my gaming channel. I just had like all my friends and me having like Minecraft items and running at each other so that I could bring it into Photoshop again and create it as a thumbnail. Next up is again another redraw for set 2. This is Coin Generator. I think all of the redraws that I made for set 2 were definitely like a big upgrade from the original art. Having the extra space to make like a bigger art piece is really helpful, especially when I'm trying to add in detail. And Photoshop allows me to have any colors that I want and redo things as many times as I want, so that's always really helpful. And then on the right is probably one of my favorite arts or favorite sketches for set 2. This is Dawn Dragon. So as you guys know, there's Dusk Dragon in set 1, so this is the opposite of that, and this will be a light element hero. On the next 2 pages are all of the sketches that I made for my most recent video, which was the prompt challenge with Sugar Blue. I was drawing a witch, and then on the right was an alternate like color combo that I made after I had already made the video. I was like, you know what, I got some colored pencils, so might as well color it in. Next 2 pages are just some random concepts for an alternate art style that I was working on. Kind of just testing out some different head shapes, body shapes, eyes and stuff. Messing around with different clothing and seeing how it matched with the different art style. Next up is another sketch for set 2, and I'm probably going to be streaming this this coming Sunday because I finished inking it in Photoshop, so I'll probably color it the Saturday after I upload this video most likely. And as you guys know, I've been doing all my streams on Twitch now, so the link's always in the description, but I've been streaming a lot on Twitch now. On the right is just some random dudes, and I got like this set of new pastel Copic markers, so I was just testing them out and coloring in these random characters. And then on the next 2 pages is kind of just some random sketches to fill up these last 2 pages. And then on the very last page is me pointing to the sky saying on to the next sketchbook. So that is the complete end of my 3rd sketchbook for you guys. This is the infamous red sketchbook, and I've already got my new sketchbook bought and ready to go. If you guys want to see a speed art of me making an art on the first page of my new sketchbook, go ahead and leave a comment making sure to let me know. Otherwise, if you guys enjoyed this sketchbook tour and you guys loved seeing the arts in this new sketchbook, go ahead and leave a like, leave a comment down below, let me know what you guys want to see next on my channel, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications for more awesome art videos, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!